Hello and welcome to Consolation League, a Warhammer podcast. I am one of your hosts, Scott,
And I'm Paul.
and today we are taking a trip through the mortal realms into Paul's first
Oh yeah.
two-day, was it a GT? I don't know.
Yep. GT.
GT AOS tournament. So I
Yeah.
know nothing about these results as of yet. There are some photos that we're going to pull up. Hopefully, this goes smoothly and sharing it and everybody can see.
Yeah.
But I'm really excited to hear how this went. So not going to bury the lead anymore. Take it away. Tell me all about
So
this.
so you didn't follow it at all, eh? You didn't take any sneak peeks or anything?
Didn't do anything. I just completely just I got pictures a little bit throughout the
Mm.
day with no results, no
Yeah.
talking, just kind
Yeah.
of
Just like
venue
day
tables.
one fun. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And lots of photos. Yeah. So this was a 2-day grand tournament. It was held at the Rideau Curling Club in Ottawa. It's the Canadian Tabletop Championship tournament. So this tournament, yeah, there's Scott's thrown for our Spotify and Apple Podcast listeners. Scott's just thrown up the picture I took of the outside of the curling club,
Hmm.
and then uh, the next photo thrown up there is going to be that's the picture before. This is the first thing in the morning on Saturday morning, probably around like 7:30, eight
Yeah.
o'clock ish.
Yes, this was
Um,
early. Early in the morning, I get this photo and I'm like, oh, he's there.
oh
And
yeah.
everybody's getting set up. It is a massive hall. It is a very big
It's a
curling
curling rink,
club. So
right?
it's huge.
Th- It's huge. And I will say this, it was never uncomfortable. You know, you and I have played many tournaments at local
Hmm.
places where it's like you're sweating buckets at the end, or I was completely fine.
That's
So this was
awesome.
it was a great venue. There's no parking on site for all intents and purposes, but there's like a City of Ottawa lot a 5-minute walk away that was $6 for the whole day. So I didn't have any issues. So it's just located in like kind of the west downtown, just outside of or just on the edge of Chinatown in Ottawa.
Very cool.
Um, great places to eat nearby. I managed to find a couple nice spots for lunch over the 2 days. But in this photo, there's like a mass of tables to the right, and then there's a mass of tables and players to the left.
Hmm.
And the group of players to the left, that's the whole 40K section. Now,
Okay.
I don't know how many 40K players there were. At least, at least, I would think almost double the AOS players.
I was gonna say, so in the picture, like, was it an even split down the entire row, or was it like to a certain extent, and then there was more 40K
Yeah,
players that kind of encompassed and encircled the AOS?
no, so the 40K players, as you went in the main doors to the rink, the 40K players were on your left-hand side going probably two-thirds of the way down the rink. And
Okay.
behind them was bolt action players.
Oh,
Because
cool.
there was bolt action here. There was Star Wars Armada, Star Wars Legion. There was Old World. There
Mhm.
was Warhammer Underworlds.
Oh, neat.
And there was Flames of War as
Hmm.
well. That was on in upstairs in like kind of a loft area, I think. But by and large, the 40K tournament was the largest attended. I would guess upwards of 80 people were there playing it from all across, apparently all across Canada.
Well, I mean, it
Uh,
looks like for early in the morning, a lot of people are there. Like
yeah,
that part of the hall is definitely filled up.
yeah.
Mhm.
So the AOS people, there was 44 players. So a good size event, and then immediately butting up on the AOS tables were the old world tables. So it was nice to see that theme kind of
Right.
flow
Keeping the
down the
fantasy
rink.
players together type of
Yeah,
thing. Very
yeah.
cool.
So I got there bright and early. I checked in the photo there. You can see the two TOs there. Rob Curtis was the big guy in the ball cap. He was the main TO for the event. Super friendly. Actually, Actually went over to the TO during one of the games just to get a bit of a rules clarification because me and my opponent at the time we weren't 100% sure on like the activation sequence for Pylon because we both had kind of heard different things.
Hmm.
Um, but he cleared it up instantly. Like this wasn't a spicy or anything like that, like debate. We were both like, I'm not really sure. And then my opponent at the time was just like, well, let's just go ask. And
Yeah,
so we did and got it sorted out.
that's great.
And that was that. So I'm there bright and early, get set up. A lot of people brought mats and terrain
Oh,
to help out fill the tables.
that's awesome.
Uh, yeah, I mean, AOS isn't quite as large, and obviously as 40K, so it did require some community help to get all 22 tables going
Hmm.
for this tournament. So I found out my list, my pairing the night before, and I knew that morning I was going into a guy playing against a guy named Francois Morin, who was running Ogre Maw tribes. So I did a little homework on the ogres, and I felt pretty confident going into this match, I'll be honest, because I was like, oh, they don't have a great save. They hit on fours. I've got a lot of advantages that make me -1 to hit. I was pretty confident on a strategy I had going into it. And so I had an idea of like what I was going to do. And then for those, I'll just go over Francois's list for those people that like talking lists.
Okay. And just
Um,
before you do that, is this next
Go on.
picture a picture of that table?
It is. Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah. So Scott's throwing a picture on up on the screen. The first match was a mission battle plan called Border War. It's four objectives. A home objective and an opponent objective, and then two in the middle. And the deployment zone, both enemy territory and friendly territory, but there's no man's land. So they
Okay.
butt up right against each other. It's basically hold home 1 point, hold the disputed objectives in the center of the table for 2 points each, or hold your opponents for 5 points to a total of six. So, there's a max
Hmm.
you can score in AOS is 6 points. So I was thinking, oh, okay, I've got a good idea what I'm going to do here. I've got my Hurricane Spirit of the Wind deployed on the left-hand side with his wind chargers. So I got my sentinels in the center at the back. Those are all my archers. I got 2 units of 10 there. I have one reinforced unit of 20. And then I got a bunch of heroes there. I've got the twins, Elania and Elithor. I've got the Enlightener. I've got the Light of Eltharion.
You did a hell of a
Uh,
good job painting these. These look fantastic.
Thank you. I got this entire 2,000 points painted in probably about 5 months. Built and painted because I really started collecting the Lumineth at Christmas,
Hmm.
and I really doubled down probably in like February. Started building right around Christmas time, but I think I really like knuckled down and got the painting done in February, and then obviously leading up to the last couple of weeks leading up to the tournament itself, I kicked it into overdrive because I
Yeah.
wanted fully painted. My first GT, my first grand tournament, never done a 2-day, 5-game event before. I'd never played the Lumineth at a tournament, so I really wanted to knuckle down
Hmm.
and put my best foot forward in terms of at least the hobbying part of things. So, uh,
You've got your
Light of Eltharion,
strategy. Yeah.
and then I have my Yadrillin River Blades.
Those,
They're in the bottom left, yeah,
these guys. Yeah.
there of the map. And so
Okay.
my opponent was running, his list was called Chubby Spam, which I loved. It was really funny. So he's running Ogre Maw Tribes. It's a destruction army,
Hmm.
running the Prophets of the Gulping God. It was a two-drop list. So his lore of Maw Magic was a spell lore, prayer lore was Everwinter Prayers. He was running Morbid Conjuration for manifestations, so the Purple Sun of Shyish, the Grave Tide, the same ones I was running.
Right.
Yeah, and you can see mine, Scott just panned down to them in the picture there. So I expected when I first thought of ogres, I expected from like I'm a big fan of Seasons of War, the
Okay.
AOS YouTube channel, and when I see them play ogres, it's quite often it's the ogres on these like
On
giant
the beasts. Yeah.
tusked beasts, right? So I was expecting that. No, Francois ran a list of like two heroes, which were pretty simple, a slaughtermaster and a butcher, and he just ran a ton of ogre gluttons, which are these chonky, 4 health each. I think 4 health, 5 up save, 5 inch move, hit on fours, wound on twos. I think they were like rend one or rend two and 2 damage. So pretty survive. Well, so I shouldn't say that. They hit pretty hard
Hmm.
if they hit. But again, if
Swingy.
they hit is a big thing. And then he had like 3 units of nobblers, and nobblers are like chaff. They're like 1 health, uh, pathetic,
Ablative wounds.
blade of wounds, like pathetic hit and to wound. It's like fives and fives.
Right.
But what they are is they're 20 models in each unit. So they're perfect screens, perfect things to like fill up a board.
Yeah.
If you're not guaranteed to put out like an output of over 20 wounds, because they're only up on a 6 up save, so they're not most of the time with Rend, they're not getting a save. But you got to like kind of dedicate a little bit to them to wipe them out. So they're a
Hmm.
bit of a pain in the ass. So I won priority, and I decided I would take the first turn. Because I my strategy was I'll put my Blade Lords in the center. I'll do seize the center. I will pop off their there's a spell that the Enlightener hero has that basically makes their save unrendable. So it's like giving them a 4 up invuln save.
Okay.
So and when they're close to the Enlightener, who's a hero or a wizard hero, they get a 5 up ward. So I thought I'll park them in the middle. uh, in my practice games, the strategy had worked well, and I'll score my battle tactic. I took the 2 objectives, so I max out 8 points that turn. Uh, and I was like, okay, I've got this kind of nailed. I moved my archers up a little bit to get some shots in on his guys and flicked off some wounds and whatnot. And then, and then Francois moves up, charges my
I just
guys.
have to take a second to
Yeah.
appreciate this because your confidence is high.
But my
You're
confidence
like,
is super high. Going into this list, I was like, oh, I got this.
I got
Like,
this.
I was like, this,
Game
yeah.
over. You should.
I'm like, here's my first win in my column. Thank you very much. Yeah. And I even debated with Francois, who he and I like awesome guy. He was from Montreal. You can just see the guy next to him is actually his son, who's
Oh,
also playing AOS, and who actually his son won a golden ticket last year at this event.
oh
And they
wow.
went to Atlanta in November. So I should have, yeah, you can see his son there. I think he was playing Gloomspite Gitz in the green
Yeah.
hoodie. And I should have had the oh shit moment there. Because while Francois is like, I'm more of a bottom table kind of player. I usually, only win 2 games, maybe blah blah blah. I I learned a lesson playing this game. Let's
You
just
were
say that.
you're humbled.
I was humbled. I was humbled. So, needless to say, my strategy fell apart, and uh, and I underestimated I should have said I overestimated my ability to push back.
Hmm.
Um, and Francois did like I basically gave him the 10 points for his turn because he did attack on 2 fronts, which is like take 2 objectives from me. He was
Right.
going to do that anyway because he has more control score.
Yeah.
And from there on, he was able to do things like do not waver, and he pushed me off primary. I was on my back foot for the rest of the game. So it was a humbling experience.
Hmm.
Obviously resulted in a loss for me uh, on that first match. The final score was 45 for Francois to my 25.
I mean, 25, your first game. How many times have you played the Lumineth?
I played
Like
three practice games
three
before this
practice
match.
games. Okay.
Yeah. Won one and lost two.
Okay.
So, I was going in, not having really put in the effort or the time I probably
Mhm.
should have. Um,
And it's always a hard thing when you're going up against another army that has like I'm looking at this picture right in front of me, and hopefully
yeah.
everybody can see it. It looks like you're outnumbered.
Oh, I'm outnumbered. He's got 98 models on the table.
Right. So
Um,
right off the bat, it's a very different kind of a game or approach that you've got to have because he's
yeah.
got so much board control.
He's got a lot of board control. Yeah, absolutely. He's got a lot of models there for a lot of presence, and yeah, he's got quite a bit of board control. So
Hmm.
so game one ends in a loss. No salt though. Like, I mean, I had a lot of fun playing Francois. We got along very well. He was like, a humble, nice guy. It was a friendly game. Um, so I wasn't like put off or anything like that. But that was one game, and then it was lunch. So I went
Okay.
down the road. There was a pizza joint called Spark Pizza and Brewery. Had a nice lunch there, and then came back for round two.
Yeah.
Now, my round two
Went to the
match,
bathroom, drowned yourself in a beer, cried a little,
yeah,
and then came
exactly,
back to the first
sobbed, sobbed.
game.
Now, round two, when the pairing went up, and was against a guy named Kyle Shermitt from the Toronto area. I should mention Francois was from Montreal,
Yep.
and Kyle was from the GTA. And Kyle was running Blades of Corn. So to note, these are two armies I've never played before.
Yeah.
Never played against ogres, whether you when I
Okay.
played slaves too. Um, never played ogres, and I've never played Blades of Corn. And Kyle was a funny guy. Like we were killing ourselves laughing throughout this entire game. But um, well, I'll get to that in a moment. But
That's what I love
it,
about going to GTs or going to the big tournaments or any
mhm,
tournament, really. You get the variety. You get to
you
play an
do,
army you haven't played before.
yeah,
And it's typically it'll almost always there'll be one pairing that you have where you're like, I don't really know what this army does. So you're trying to figure it
exactly.
out as you're going. So that's the fun of it, I think. But it's also why I place in the bottom.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, true. So Kyle introduces his army, and he's like, you think Corn plays like we're just gonna run up in your face and punch you, but he's not. He's like, we actually play like assholes. And he explained. So he was running before. I'll go through his list a bit before filling in kind of how it works. So his list was called "All the Skulls and Blood You Have," which is appropriate. It was four drops, and in his general's regiment, he had Scarbrand, which is a giant demon. Scott's got the photos up there on the screen. Now, this one was shifting objectives was the battle plan. I don't think it's called that. It's called no, it is called shifting objectives. I was right. So this one, the deployment zone is actually very small.
It looks like.
And the entire area in the middle of the map is no man's land where the three objectives are. And it's basically hold one, hold two, hold more. That's how you get your 6 points.
The thing that I'm most kind of like blown away by, again,
Hmm.
is very different layouts and deployments versus
Yeah.
40K or any other tabletop that I've seen. It's
Yeah.
it's really just all out war. It's I'm lined up here, you're lined up there. We're just going to smash our models into each other.
Yeah, and to a certain extent, it absolutely is just that, right?
Hmm.
Um, there is a little bit more to it as I've
Yeah,
learned
some
and
finesse to it,
adapted
but
throughout the tournament, but yeah, that's how it works. So the way corn works, uh, these guys get to collect blood tithes whenever a unit's destroyed, friend or foe, and then they
okay,
spend those blood tithe points on different abilities.
right.
And one nasty ability they have, which only costs one blood tithe, is they can move 3 inches and they can move into combat.
Yes, that's the corn. That's corn for you.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So I don't know if this is part of the new World Eaters Codex or 40K or anything like that, but there's nothing shittier than when you're trying to pull off like a battle tactic and your opponent moves into combat with you and denies the tactic.
And just shuts you down.
It just shuts you down. And you have a
Yeah.
long way to go to dig yourself out of a hole. Because that's what ended up happening here. I think I let Kyle go first, and then I moved up and tried to score my battle tactics. Or I may have actually taken the first turn here.
Is
And what he
this
was,
is this
and I
the
moved up the Hurricane Wind Chargers on the left to try and do they have a cheeky move, shoot, move ability.
hmm
And so I set them up to try and do that. And after the movement phase, he's like, okay, I'm gonna spend a blood tithe in your movement phase, and I'm gonna move. And he tagged them because I needed them to get on the objective. And yeah,
Yeah.
caused problems for me immediately. So he was able to deny me battle tactics the first 2 rounds. So I only scored like a fraction of the points there. Hero of the match, the Light of Eltharion, was an absolute beast. He nearly killed Scarbrand. He killed like a bunch of other of his units. He ran Scarbrand, Skull Reapers, a Skull Taker, Aspiring Deathbringer with a unit of reinforced blood warriors. He ran a Slaughter Priest with a unit of Wrathmongers, and his third was just a hero called a Bloodstoker. So he had the ability to kind of like deny our Unbind spells,
hmm
which worked a couple times to like slow down my magic. Um, yeah, and just through finesse, like he was able to deny battle tactics, hold the board. Um, yeah, it was a great game. I really enjoyed it. Like I had a ton of fun playing it, even though this was my biggest ass whooping of the tournament. The final score was 45 to 13 for
Oh wow.
Kyle. Absolute spanking. Um, just denied constantly,
hmm
and I had a deep hole to dig out points wise, and I just couldn't close the gap with what I had left.
But a good game. You
But
still
a great
enjoyed it.
game.
That's awesome.
Really enjoyed the match. But by this time, my legs are killing me, my head's killing me. It's noisy as hell in there,
Yeah.
right? With all the enthusiasm. I will say at some point during this match too, a beast of Nurgle nearby dropped ass, and both me and Kyle were like, "Oh my God, my eyes are watering." It was fucking horrendous. And I mean, I looked over at the guy sitting next to me, or playing at the table next to me, and he was sitting down while his opponent was measuring stuff, and he just looks at me and he goes, "Somebody just shit their pants." It was awful.
Oh
It
my
was
God.
awful. Thankfully it was near the end of the tournament, or near the end of
At the end of the
that
day.
match. Um, so yeah, so at this point I'm 0 for 2, and you know, it's like
But are you starting to feel like, oh, this is the second game? It was like, are you feeling down about it? Or are you still like, okay,
at that
that's
point
a
I
little
was
annoying, but I'm still learning my army. I'm still having a good time.
I thought at that point I'm like, okay, I'm gonna lose the first day. And I'm like, hopefully I go 1-4. You know
Right.
what I mean? Like win one, lose four,
Right.
I'll be happy. I mean it. I went into this thinking, okay, I want to win one game, knowing that um, I was told that this tournament would be a lot of like good players.
Yeah.
People come from all over to play in it. So, and in fact, I'll sort of get to that story at the end, but one of the chaps came from Barrie to
Oh
play.
wow. That's a
You know
long
what I
way to
mean?
go.
So, uh, it was. it was well attended, and there's a lot of representation from
Hmm.
all over, right? And a ton of people from Quebec.
Yes. Yeah.
Um, because they were giving away three golden tickets, right, for AOS. So, there was a lot of motivation for really good players. And
Hmm.
Kyle, I ran into Dave and Tommy. Shout out to Dave and Tommy from here from Kingston. Tommy was out rocking his Necrons at the 40K side of CTC.
Nice.
And Dave was there for moral support and model packing and to do a little hobbying in the back. While Tommy
That's awesome.
threw down with the other gang at 40K.
Yeah.
But chatting with them, they told me, well, Kyle had either won or placed in the top three of Kingston's GT that they just had while I was away for work that I missed.
So
So it wasn't like I went up against just some random guy that just happened to be, you know what I mean? Like I felt like, okay, well, and I learned a lot from playing Kyle,
yeah.
like watching him play and then the placing. And then I was like, yeah, I knew when I was playing in my league and from other tournaments that denying battle tactics is important and a
Hmm.
good idea. And, I watch enough YouTube of AOS to that I should be embarrassed to admit, but that is certainly a big dynamic in the game in the top level of playing, especially
Hmm.
denying points, not just holding on to primary
Yeah.
and denying those, but denying battle tactics, like denying secondaries is part of
Hmm.
that more in-depth strategy.
Yeah. It's not just what am I going to do next? It's what am I going to do to respond as well as do.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, so big spanking, but I rallied. I spent a command point. I rallied and
CP
uh,
re-rolled some
C
steam and pushed
CP
through.
reroll. There's no CP reroll in AOS. That's why it's a superior game system.
That's what it's
Um, okay, so
okay.
final pairing for the Saturday was Skaven, and when I got this pairing, I was delighted because I hadn't played Skaven and I'm collecting Skaven. So I really wanted to play them to see how they played. I'd watched a
Hmm.
lot of videos of Skaven, um, but I really wanted to see the army in action and
They're a
see
really
how it
cool
went.
army. I mean, you can't get wrong with rat men.
Oh yeah, no,
Like
they're great.
is
They
there
are so
anything
good.
creepier or ridiculous than that? That's so
Yeah,
awesome.
yeah, they're awesome. I love the model range, especially the new ones.
Hmm.
I like the army's dynamic. There's a lot of recursion in Skaven, so units can come back at half their strength.
Right.
There's a lot of movement shenanigans. They have a spell that hands out strike last. Like there's a lot you can do with the Skaven. So I was playing against an Ottawa local guy named Thomas Matthews. Absolutely great guy. Um, had a blast playing with them. Friendly, laid back. Like I can't say enough about my opponents, the five opponents that I played during this tournament, because all of them were great people. Like no, hard heads,
Hmm.
no salt. No one was pissed off when they lost or won. Like there was nothing like that. Okay. So it was a very good bunch to play against.
Awesome.
So, as I mentioned, Thomas is rocking the Skaven. His list was called CTC Pestilence. He was running the Violent Procession. His list was three drops. Lore of Ruin was his spell lore, and Noxious Prayers was his prayer lore, and he had the Skaven Manifestations. And in his General's Regiment, he had Thanquol on Bone Ripper. Now I'm almost done reading the book Grey Seer. I love this character from the stories. Uh, and it's a model I really like. So I was really excited to see it on the table. Um, so he ran that with a Hell Pit Abomination in his general's regiment. So he had tons of plague priests and plague monks. He was going with that Skaven clan because the Skavens have different clans.
Okay.
What he didn't have was a lot of shooting. So when I saw this list, So he had, sorry, before I go on, sorry, he had the Plague Priest on the Plague Furnace, which is kind of like it's a War Machine unit,
Hmm.
and with 2 units of Plague Monks, and then the Plague Pack, which is like a Warhammer Underworlds unit that's legal play
Okay, cool. Kind of like
in
how a kill team can come across.
exactly,
Okay.
exactly, which gives him another priest, which is a good thing. And then his second regiment, or his third, I should say, regiment, was a Gray Seer on a Screaming Bell, another kind of war machine thing. So it's like a
Okay.
wheeled cart, and you move these two war machines out, and they both are like area of effect, force multiplier kind of units. They
Okay.
do negatives to your opponent and give bonuses to your units, but don't really have anything. They're not a threat to anything
Right.
that I have one on one. And then 2 units of clan rats. So again, model count super high, right? He's got tons of little models all
Hmm.
over the place. And I think I only wiped out 1 unit of clan rats, to be honest. Because they, at the end of every turn, you get D3 clan rats back. So there's
Oh.
tons of recursion. So even if they're in combat, you're like, I killed 15 to 20, and then at the end of and it's end of every turn. So at the end of my turn, the end of his turn, D3 back. So he'd be like, oh, 2 more guys back. No, 3 more guys back. So they're just a goddamn nuisance, which is why I'm going to do a list with 2 units of 40. So, because because I think why not? I think that'll be hilarious. Um, so lots of recursion. So this time, I made him go first.
Okay.
And the map I should say for this one is the Vice. So in the picture Scott shows up there, you can see Thomas's Skaven on the right hand side. Deployment there, more or less like a straight line,
Hmm.
and then
And no man's land
at
into it at least, or is it
there's no
still
no man's land in the Vice.
okay?
What happens there is the objectives start in the very far corner of the map. So you can just make out the objectives in the photos. So if you imagine
Hmm.
each corner of the map, uh, I guess a quarter of that is the objective radius, right?
Interesting.
And then in Battle Round 2, it moves up. And
Okay.
then in Battle Round 4, you only have the center objective left. And to score it, you can't have any enemies within so close to it.
Like an area denial type of
Like
thing.
an area denial thing. Yeah.
Okay.
So cool mission. Same typical dynamic of hold one, hold two,
Hmm.
hold more to score your six. And so I make Thomas go first, and I take some pot shots at his rats, and I'm scoring my battle tactics. So I'm maxing out like eight, because we're holding the same,
Right.
kind of fighting over the middle, and that sort of thing. But what his army didn't have, uh, and or maybe he didn't make enough use of, was like mobility and punch. He didn't have quite enough to like move around and hit me hard. I was able to
Right.
keep away from his most dangerous units.
Hmm.
And then when he did get into later in this game, he gets into the Light of Altharion, which is my champion of the tournament. It's the MVP model for the 5 games. He goes into the Light of Altharion. The Light of Altharion has an unmodifiable save, so he always saves on a 3, and is a 5-up ward.
Oh
He
wow.
only has 6 health, so he can die pretty quick once he starts taking damage. Um, but his damage output can be pretty consistent because he has
Hmm.
4 attacks that hits on twos, wounds on threes, 3 rend, so most things don't get a save against. And you're pretty consistently doing 9 damage with just those attacks alone.
Wow.
And then he has 2 more attacks that hit on twos, wound on threes. They're anti-hero, anti-monster. They're Rend
Mhm.
1, but they go up to Rend 2 if you're against heroes and monsters that also do 3 damage. So going into a hero, like he went into Thanquol later in the game and he deleted them.
Hmm.
because going into a hero, he's quite often the hero's not getting a save, and
Yeah.
he's putting out 12 to 15 damage.
Yeah.
So, and
That's
he's got a
awesome.
shooting attack. So he's a must-have, in my opinion, thankfully his points came down. He really fit nicely into my list. But he certainly was the MVP of this match. So thankfully, I thought I'd win this one, and I did. I beat Thomas 42-22. I
Okay.
got my one win, so I'm like, okay, awesome. I left feeling pretty good. I mean, at this point in the day, I was exhausted. It was
Yeah.
about 6 o'clock, 6:30. I was shattered. I'd
Hmm.
gotten there at about 7:30. I still had about a 90-minute drive home.
Yeah.
And my head was absolutely killing me. My legs were killing me. I sound like a weakling.
No, but it's one of those things that you don't think or prepare for is like
Hmm.
as ridiculous as it sounds, you have to stay hydrated at these things because
Yeah,
as soon as you're not drinking water enough, you're
yeah,
going to get a headache, you're going to start feeling crappy real
yeah,
fast because it's not physically intensive what you're doing,
no,
but it's still a physical thing that's happening.
yeah,
So you still have
yeah.
to kind of prepare for it in that way.
I think I'm gonna have to get one of these like 2 liter big jugs of water, one of those things, Stanleys or something like
Yeah.
that,
Yeah.
and fill it with ice water and like bring these to the tournaments with me,
Hmm.
because I felt like utter shit driving home.
Be that guy that wears a camel pack and is
Oh
drinking
yeah.
while he's doing
And this hits on twos, boom, and threes to wounds. Yeah. But so I was feeling physically a little bit miserable, and I thought to
Hmm.
myself, I spent 5 months and all this money getting this army, and I'm like, probably gonna lose 2 games tomorrow because I'm like, okay, great, I've won a game, so now I'm
Hmm.
gonna go against someone else who's won a game.
Yeah.
And I'm like, they're probably going to be a lot better than me. Like the first 2 guys I played knew what they were doing. So to give Thomas credit here, this was his first tournament ever,
Okay.
period. So, and we talked about his list afterwards, and I said to him, I don't think these war machines are worth the points. He'd been playing for a while,
Hmm.
but I was like, I think you need some shooting because like your rats are good at like holding guys back and scoring like holding primaries because of their control score. I mean, if you had brought some, the Skaven's got some great shooting in it. If you'd brought
Yeah.
some units that did the shooting, you could pepper me. And like my
Hmm.
models are fragile.
Hmm.
They save on fours and fives, but they're 2 health, 1 health. My all my
Yeah.
archers are 1 health each, so that's a 20 health unit. It's not that survivable. You can give it wards and stuff like
Hmm.
that to help, but yeah.
That's
So I
awesome.
thought, we just sort of talked about his list, and I was like, for what it's worth, this is my kind of 2 cents about it. Not that I'm an expert, but
Hmm.
it was certainly when I saw that he had no shooting, I was like, oh, he's gonna have a hard time against me for that reason.
Now, I might be a little crazy, but this
Hmm.
is also the first of the games where you're not doing the exact same deployment. Like what I noticed in your lat in the first two games is
Hmm.
you had the same deployment in both games. You had the
Yeah,
same units in the same spots both times.
that's right.
Whereas this one, it looks like you've changed things up a little bit.
Absolutely. Yeah, I changed things up a little bit, and just was very, very,
So
very, go on.
I was going to say, so do you think you played more to the mission this time or to the map and opponent more than you did the first two times?
Absolutely. The first 2 times I completely underestimated, um, well, the first game I overestimated my ability to avoid damage.
Hmm.
And then in the second match, I underestimated, he explained, oh, I can spend a blend tithe and I can move into a combat. And I was like, yeah, whatever. Like as if that's never going to come up.
Yeah.
Not listening to that, oh, that happens in the movement phase.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
Oh,
Like, no,
he's telling me his strategy.
yeah, he's telling me his
Actually.
strategy. He highlighted it for me. Um,
Yeah.
so so yeah, and it was one of those at the end of this first day, I was just sort of like, oh, I don't know about this whole Warhammer thing.
Maybe this isn't for me.
Maybe I should just play casual games in leagues locally. I'm like, I don't think I'm gonna do another one of these GT things. Like, I'm
Mhm.
exhausted.
Yeah.
I'm old now. Like, you know what I mean? It is what it is.
Yeah.
So,
That's day
uh,
one.
that's
That
day
is the
one.
consolation league
That is the
internal
consolation league.
monologue drive
Yeah.
home on day one
Yeah,
of
that is the 90 minutes of
God. You're
God, you're such a
such a loser.
loser.
You suck at this.
You
You are the worst at
suck
this.
at this.
Why are you even playing?
Yeah.
Everybody's laughing at you.
Yeah, it's just like, oh, for God's sake.
Yeah.
Okay. So, pairings for day two. I think they
Day
went
one,
up.
still a success. You got to win in
I
like
got to
that.
win. I got
Like
to win. So
that's you got to
sunny
feel good
side
about
up.
that.
Sunny side up. I was pleased that I got a win. I was like, okay.
Hmm.
So that evening, the pairings go up for the next day. I see I'm into a guy named Matt Jackson, who's also playing Ogre Maw Tribes. And I crack open his list. And um, so he's running a list called ABC.
He's got the beasts.
He's got the beast. He brought the big boys. And he brought the dad of the big boys,
Yeah, he
Kragnos, the
did.
end of Empires. Now, Kragnos is an infamous unit in for destruction in Age of Sigmar because he gives, I think, up to 3 units within 12 of him a 3d6 charge.
Oh, holy shit.
So a max charge distance of 18 inches
Oh.
on, if you roll three sixes, right?
Hmm. On a nice big spread out map, that's going to be a real hard thing to handle.
Yeah.
Like
Now,
18 inches, you're off the table at this
yeah,
charge.
this was
That's amazing. Holy crap.
what map? This was Scorched Earth. So there's 8 objectives on this map. But before we get into the game, I'll just finish kind of going through his
Yeah,
list.
yeah,
So he's playing the ogre list I kind of expected when I first found out I was playing ogres.
right.
All the frost lords on stone horns. So Kragnos hits hard. He gives a 3d6 charge, has a 4 up save, and I think a 5 up ward. So he's pretty survivable, and he gives that awesome boost of letting all these
Hmm.
other guys charge, and he's got a rampage that hands out damage and all the good stuff you'd expect from a centerpiece model like that,
Right.
right? Like he's a gigantic centaur with horns and a
Hmm.
giant mace stone hammer thing,
Yeah.
right?
I'll see if I can zoom in a little to him
Yeah, he's a cool model. Matt did a good job
right
painting
there.
them.
Yeah, they look
Uh,
great.
yeah, loved the color he did, like everything like that. His models look great. So I'm reading this list the night before, and I'm like, a Frost Lord on Stonehorn. I'm like, oh, great. These Stonehorn monsters, they ignore the first point of damage every phase. So shooting phase, fight phase. So at least that's 2 points of damage. And a lot, like I have Eltharion and the twins are my highest damage outputters. The Bowman and so the Sentinels and the Blade Lords are it's like death by 1,000 cuts. Like they do 1 damage each, and you're
Hmm.
just trying to get in volume, right?
Okay.
Outside of that, I only have Eltharion and the twins as my ones that can actually like punch up, right? So I was like, oh, Christ almighty, how do I even deal with this list? Because the Frost Lord on Stonehorn and the Huskard on Stonehorn, they're like 14 health, 4 up save. I think they had like prayers that give them wards or area of effect stuff that gives them wards. He was running a butcher, 1 unit of those little nobbler geeks, and then an iron blaster, which is a cannon. So I'm like, oh, he's got shooting, so I'm gonna get shot, and it's a
Mhm.
cannon that does like D3 plus something damage. So I was like, fantastic, that's gonna punch a hole in my
This is great. I'm so glad
precious
I came
sentinels.
today.
Yeah, I'm like, fantastic. I'm going into game one already losing.
Right, losing.
Like,
I'm gonna
God
flip
damn
this
it.
goddamn table.
Yeah,
This is-
forget it. Um, and then another
Um,
stone horn. So he's got three stone horns, and this other kind of action monkey unit.
mhm.
So we're on Scorched Earth, I think is this battle plan.
It looks like it
Yes.
from the General's Handbook that I'm seeing in front of me. Scorched Earth is the page that it's on.
Yep. And so the twist to this one is, the underdog can remove an objective that both you and your opponent are contesting for purposes of scoring. Okay.
Okay.
But other than that, it's eight objectives. So I was like, well, at least I'll be able to hold more because I have more units than he does, and I'm faster. But I'm like, once he gets these stone horns and Kragnos into me, I'm gonna get
Hmm.
clubbed to death. So Sunday didn't kick off until 9 o'clock, so I didn't have to get up quite as early. Drove in with renewed vigor, ready for day two, because I was determined, you know what? I am not quitting. I am playing this tournament to the end, because if nothing else, it's practice with this army that I've
Hmm.
spent all this time and energy building.
By God, I'm good enough. I'm
By
smart enough,
God,
and people
gosh
like
darn it,
me.
people like me. And I think my opponents like me. Like there was a lot of laughing during the matches, and
Hmm.
I at no point was I just like sulking or glaring or being like, actually, you can't do that or anything like
Yeah.
that. Uh, yeah, Matt Jackson, a friend of Kyle's. I think they're part of the same gaming club from the GTA. So they'd come down for the weekend to play in this GT. Uh, Absolutely great guy, funny, dry wit. Uh, had a blast playing with them.
Great.
So he outdrops me, so I get to decide who goes first. I'm like, you go first, and I've deployed everything back
Hmm. Yeah, I
so
can see
that
that
I
you're
measured and I'm like, okay, if he can move this far, if he runs and charges, which is something they can do, I'm like, he's gonna need this magic number to like
right.
make it into me. Um, so Matt goes first. He moves up his nobblers and he just sees the center and his cannon thing to get it in, get some shots in on me. He kills a couple of sentinels because he doesn't. Again, it's ogres, so he's like hitting on fours, so his hitting output isn't that great. And so he moves up into the center, kind of making that unit closer for me. And like I said, kills a couple sentinels, and then he decides to keep his stonehorns back.
Okay.
Because he measured, and I think he needed like a 10-inch charge. And rather than run the one unit up and like go for it,
Hmm.
he decided to hold back. So
Okay.
and it's specifically in the photo there, you can see a red guy. We didn't have enough objective markers for the other objectives, but I still had my Leviathan tokens at least there. So it is like an eight objective.
All right. These little guys
Um,
right here and here.
yeah, it is at least
Okay.
an eight objective game. So, taking note of his hesitation, he brings up, uh, like I said, the cannon and the nobbler guys, sees the center. So I move kind of around the board to sort of get away from him. I can't remember what objective I took, but I ended up getting in that turn. I believe I was really able to capitalize on some movement and momentum and swing around. So I got into combat with his nobblers and his cannon, was able to swing around the far side of the map with
This way.
my hurricane units, do some shooting and do some pile-ins and movement and hold more objectives than him. And I believe well, I got a 10 the first turn
Oh, wow.
for that one. And then, so I was in a good, oh no, no, sorry, I only scored eight. So I must have played Oh yeah. So I played a little bit careful that one. And uh, what it came down to, so there's a priority roll for round two. So I can't remember what battle tactic I took for the first turn. I think it was obviously a safe one, like
Hmm.
um, uh, I think reclaim the realms, or it was something kind of movement based that I wouldn't have to put
Okay.
myself too much at risk for. Um, oh, and you know what? It was do not waver. I remember now because I put my blade lords into his cannon, and so get into two fights and survive, don't lose any units. And that's what I did. I charged his units in the center, got into two fights, picked them up without losing any guys. So I did do not waver there.
Nice.
And then the second, for the second turn, uh, battle round two, of course, AOS has a priority role. Now, this had never come, it didn't come up because it wasn't of any significance in the other matches that I had the first day. But here, I won priority for battle round two, and I went second. So I would be the one taking the double, and we're
Right.
tied 8-8. So I'm like, I think
And for
because I'd
those
gained.
that don't play AOS, what does that
Mhm.
mean if you were to take the double? It means you can't score
It can't score
secondaries.
secondaries, so you can't score battle tactics. You can only score primary. So it's key to get your full 6 points on primary. That's absolutely essential, and it's key to really punch out your opponent. Ideally, you're only going to take a double if you think you're going to kill a couple more units than them.
Right.
Like really put them on their back foot. Really, if you think it's going to give you a serious advantage, because you are risking going down 4 points, right?
Hmm.
So I take the double and sweep up the other side of the map. So basically, if you're looking at the picture, I go down on the right into his area and start moving left. Meanwhile, I don't think I have any photos of it, but I was in the center with another unit threatening his red uh, Stonehorn there. And
Okay.
so what I was able to do in that double was I was able to swoop around and kill his hero he had in the back right corner, which was the one I think that was denying. It was doing something with that mop hit for me. I
Okay.
think it let him unbind spells or something like that.
Hmm.
So he was no longer had a wizard, so he couldn't interfere with any of my magic. And I swept out all those three units in that right corner.
And so applying
And
pressure. So you've basically got him tagged to one corner.
I got him boxed in one corner,
Hmm.
and at the same time, I was shooting the shit out of his Stonehorn, bringing it down in wounds. And then I think I charged it and ended up killing it
Oh, wow.
between shooting and the charging. So I ground him down to 3 units. So then I got my 6 points, and I really had him on his back foot. He decided to, in his turn, he went for slay the Entourage because he's like, I'll kill Eltharion. And he
Hmm.
charged Eltharion with the three models he had left. And he did kill Eltharion. Eltharion, I think, before dying, killed one of his Stonehorn. And so
Because
left him
again,
with,
if it gets monsters or whatever, it gets the
he
bonuses,
gets
right?
a bonus to rend, and he's got a pretty good damage output.
Hmm.
And then he was down to just two Kragnos and one other monster, and I was pouring all my shooting into them, and I killed Kragnos the next turn,
Oh, wow.
and then only left him with the one stone horn left, and that was game.
Wow.
And I ended up beating Matt uh, 46 to 24. So
So,
I nearly got a perfect game. It was taking the double is why I have a 46.
wow. Well done. So this is you
Yeah,
now, you're now 2 for 2.
I'm 2-2. Yeah, I've won two and I've lost two.
That's
And
great.
I said to Matt, I said, I can't believe I won that because I said I was fucking dreading this list. When I saw it last night, I was like, I have no idea
Hmm.
how I'm going to deal with this because I thought for sure you would charge into me with those three monsters
Hmm.
and Kragnos, and I'd have no way of digging myself out of that hole. Like I couldn't visualize a way of digging myself out.
Right.
So in this game, I was like, I was deploying as far back as I could while still towing onto objectives to score some points,
Hmm.
and basically preparing for getting punched in the face
Yeah.
was what I thought was going to happen. And he's like, no, man. He's like, your deployment. He's like, it was a 10-inch charge. So even with the 3d6, like he's like, I wasn't confident I'd be able to make it.
No, I think I heard recently a 3d6 on average, if you were to roll it, is
It's
11.
7.
It's an 11.
It's an
Yeah.
11. Yeah.
So like even getting the 10 is going to be tricky.
Yep.
So yeah, definitely the right play. Way to go. Well done.
Yeah. So I was like, holy shit. I was shocked at this one. Like I really didn't think I was going to pull it off. And it was literally the winning priority, turn two,
Hmm.
made a huge difference for me. It really, really did help.
That was a real calculated risk. That could have, yeah, that was well
Yeah, I
done.
mean, it
Way
could
to
have
go.
backfired. In a way, yes, it was, but in another way, it wasn't because I'd done so much, like I'd erased three
Yeah.
units on one side. He was like a 7 unit army.
Yeah.
And so having squished that much,
Hmm.
it really was,
That's amazing.
it was the right thing to do. It was the right thing to do. And it was just playing more to the map and, uh,
Again, you're,
cautiously like being avoiding him. You know what I
yeah.
mean? With the right units was what
Hmm.
kept me alive for sure.
Hmm. You
So I'm
played the
going
mission
into,
and you played the opponent.
yeah,
And
played the
it,
list and
yeah.
played the mission.
Yeah.
So now I'm going into round five, uh,
No. I
playing
have a hard
Fire
time
Slayers.
seeing this map. This map is
Yeah,
really hard for me to see.
because it's all colors
I can't
and
I can't really make the models out.
yeah, he can't because they're orange, right? They're
Yeah.
Fire Slayers
Yeah,
and they're kind
so
of orangey. You're like, this doesn't look like anything to me.
this is
It's a
really
bunch of things.
it's yeah, it's whoa.
So,
A kaleidoscope.
game five was into a guy named Etienne Tremblay Guerin, uh, and he was playing Fire Slayers, the Warrior Kin Band. He was 5 drops. Now, Fire Slayers have tons and tons of attacks, but they only have a 4-inch move. So I really didn't know how this was going to go. Having never played them before, I was aware that they do punch up quite well.
Hmm.
But I was like, well, he doesn't have any other shooting. Not that they have a ton of shooting anyway. He's got tons of drops, and
But they're
I'm like, he can
dwarves.
only move. They're dwarves. They're all angry, red, fiery dwarves.
Yeah.
He can only move 4 inches. So I was like, well, I've got the advantage on mobility for sure. And I'm like, I just have to kind of stay back from him and pick away at him with some of my shooting and like charge the right units. And that's exactly how I played it. So this was Jaws of Galette, final mission. So the twist on this mission, and it's important in this case because it kind of played into my strategy, is that the underdog can pull objectives away,
Oh, wow.
starting from the second battle round forward. Okay, so
Okay.
you have two friendly, two enemy, and then one in the middle. So 5 objectives. And of course, it's like hold one, hold two, hold more for your 6 points. So he had more drops. So and I was like, he's the slower moving army. I was like, you go first. So he goes first. He does seize the center. He moves like tons of his dwarves into the middle. He's got tons of heroes. I only had, out of all the games, this is the only one I kind of had an issue with because he had these movement trays that he
Yeah, I
was
think you can
using,
see
and he
some
had a
of them.
hero in the movement trays, and it was kind of awkward because I wasn't there was one point where he was like, "Well, the hero's here," and I'm like, "What do you mean the hero's there?" So,
Hmm.
and he's like, "Oh, he's this guy here with the black hair," and I was kind of like, "But you've been moving him with the unit." So in Age of Sigmar, a hero doesn't attach to a unit like it does in 40K.
Right.
They just hang out close to each other, but they move separately.
Right.
So if you're running them, there's a separate role for the hero, the character,
Right.
than there is for the unit. Um, they're they're autonomous. So if
Hmm.
when you target a unit, and even if the hero is like right beside them, it's just the unit, not the hero you're targeting kind of thing.
Right.
You have to designate that kind of stuff. So I was like, can you do me a favor and just take everything out of the trays?
Hmm.
Because it did confuse a point, and I wasn't entirely sure. I asked him, when you ran them, did you roll two dice? Because I'm like, I don't remember, I
Yeah.
thought it was just one unit kind of thing. And he didn't play anything. I don't doubt that he didn't roll the two dice, but I didn't like the appearance there that there was any doubt. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah, that's what I was going to say. It brings whether it was intentional or not, it brings something into question, and
And I
and
just
it's
wanted to
never a
be
good feeling.
straightforward.
Yeah.
No. Um, So he had a lot of bonuses that let him like run in charge and this kind of stuff. So I was like, okay, these guys move 4 inches, but there was a lot of like auto running, and he was rolling quite well. Turn one, it's 10-8 for him. So I was like, I'll just hold the bottom left. I'll hold, uh, I'll hang on to like the two objectives I can hang on to.
Hmm.
I think it was the bottom two in closer to my territory. On my side of the table, yeah, on the left and right. So I hung on to them and did like attack on, or did like take the flanks because there's no man's lands in between these deployment zones in the opposite corners of the map.
Okay.
For me, very safe battle tactic. Keeps me away from him, lets me score 8 points, but more importantly, lets me be underdog.
Hmm.
So roll for priority. He won, I think, every priority roll
Oh, wow.
except for except for the last round. He won every priority roll. So he goes and um, again he does another bat. I think he does take their land, and now he's starting to come into my army a bit. So it's another like 10-8 round. All right. And then
Hmm.
so at this point, I'm like, okay, it's time to remove. I'm the underdog.
I'm going to
And I
take away
wanted to
one of his
be underdog
objectives.
because I could start removing objectives and castling up. And because he's got bad movement, I'm in a good position to start messing about with that, right?
Hmm.
So I take away the center objective. And then we do a bit of fighting over the objective closest to me. And he gets into the Light of Eltharion and another unit. And he's kind of stuck in battling them. And at the end, I think again at the end of that turn, it goes 10-8 for him.
Okay.
But now I've pulled away an objective,
Hmm.
another objective. So now going into like turn three, I think I'm holding more. And I've really started to pick apart his army. So he's got less to hold on to.
Right.
And now in turns, and is very, very close. So come turns, uh, by the fifth battle round, he had no objectives. The only objective that was left, um, or I should say, there's only two objectives left, and my army was entirely on that side of the map. And the units he had left that could only move 4 inches,
Hmm.
even if he autos run 10, are too far away to get anywhere near them. So I'm doing 10 and 10 for the last two rounds, and he's scoring nothing on primary. So he's only getting 8 points for the last two rounds.
So you've closed the gap, that 6 point gap to start with. You started to close it, and
And to winning 46
yeah,
40.
way to go.
And so I finished the tournament 3-2.
Holy shit. Way to go.
So I was fucking shocked. I was
That's
absolutely
amazing.
flabbergasted. I ended up coming 20th out of 44 players.
Way to
So for
go.
me, I was super pumped because I was like, I expected, of course, bottom three,
AOS
and
is
I
your
thought
game.
1 and 5. And I was just like, wow,
That's
okay,
amazing.
okay. So I was super pleased with how this went. It, and it was a great match. Like it was a real nail biter because it was super, super close.
Hmm.
I don't think I think it was one combat activation he kind of did in an order that I wouldn't have done. Like he was trying to do Slay the Tyrants, which is just kill a hero. Uh, and he should have attacked Altharion first, but he decided to attack the twins first. And what ended up happening was when I'm Lumineth, so our thing is we get to choose two units when it comes time to activate for fighting. And so I'm like, well, I'll pick Eltharion and he'll
Hmm.
pick up all these guys here. And he did to the man. And now Eltharion's not in combat and able to retreat. And he's got a big, scary beat stick now moving around the board,
Yeah.
free to do it. And yeah, it really felt like the strategy for this match was to be the underdog.
So this is, I
Like
mean,
because of the underdog part of the Jaws of Galette is like the underdog gets to take away an objective.
yeah,
So at the end of the day, you kind of want to be underdog for the first two turns.
yeah. See,
You want to go into battle round two as the underdog so you can start removing an objective and like controlling the board.
what I'm noticing is again, played the mission, played the
Yep.
army. Like
Yep.
the first two games, you were like, you went in with your strategy baked of what I'm going to do, but you weren't thinking about who am I playing? What exactly is it that they can do? How should I
hmm
position myself
hmm
to maximize something? Um, so that's amazing. Way to
Well,
go.
what I
Way to
really learned though is like, slaves is like I can move them up aggressively because they can take a punch. Whereas Lumineth don't play like that. And I
yeah.
thought they played like that in the first two games because, the Ethereal Blessing spell and
Hmm.
the 5-up ward, fours and fives, that's pretty good. That's a good chance. Fours is literally 50% chance of
Hmm.
mitigating damage. And then you're getting like like a 20% chance to like 30% chance to like then ignore the
Yep. I think
damage
so, something
again.
like that. Yeah.
So I'm embarrassing myself with my bad math, but it just
Fuck it.
it
You're a
felt
winner. Who cares?
yeah,
You're
three
a
and
winner.
two. So
That's
unfortunately, didn't
amazing.
win enough to win any prizes. Didn't get best sportsmanship, which I was bummed. I didn't enter the best painted. I probably should have because I could have probably maybe gotten a little participation award for that.
Hmm.
Um, but no, I had a great time. Probably because I did win both games that day too.
Yeah,
Let's be
exactly.
honest.
The drive home was much better this time
The drive
because
home, there was no headache on the way home, day two. That's for sure. Um,
headaches are for
Headaches are for
losers, not
losers.
winners.
Winners don't feel pain. That's
That's
gonna be on the
amazing.
next shirt. So, yeah, no, I had a ton of fun, learned a lot playing the game, and it's all going to be out the window because June 14th, the new General's Handbook comes out, and the rules for the next season will be shaking up, and I'll be starting again at the bottom. But I was very happy that I had fun playing Lumineth. Even in the games I
Good.
lost, I enjoyed how they played. I enjoy the complexity of the army. Like there's a lot of technical pieces that are moving, and I remembered all my rules, which I was really excited about.
Good.
I don't think there was a time where I was like, oh, I didn't do this with this guy. You know what I mean? Like I knew it. I knew it down. And by game five, I wasn't looking at cards for anything. Like I'm like, I know what this unit does.
Yeah,
Like it
that's
was
amazing.
I was very happy with that. So
Way to go. I'm very proud of you. Way to go.
thank
That's
you. Thank
amazing.
you. Yeah, first GT in the books.
I
And
mean, you're no longer part of the consolation league,
yeah, I'm
so
out.
fuck
That's it,
off.
folks. This is my
But
last episode.
this
It's been a
is
slice. Join us in the winner's circle. No, join us in the middle of the pack.
That's amazing.
So,
Way to go.
yeah,
That's really good.
thank you.
That's so fantastic. I'm glad that it was a good experience and that you had like I think it's this is probably going to sound like an asshole thing to say, but it's good to have day one be a little bit humbling of like,
100%.
okay, I went into this thinking something other than reality type of thing. Like I went
Yeah.
into it being maybe overly confident about one thing and
Hmm.
not really thinking that, oh, this other person's going to have that same strategy in mind or
Exactly.
have their own
Ex
thing. They're not going to just let me win. How dare
no.
they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I totally went in on the whole thing that, oh, Blade Lords are awesome. Move them up, get them into combat because they'll just survive. And like half the time I couldn't get the spell off,
Yeah.
and especially in those first two matches, and it was like, God damn it. Like,
Hmm.
and had to really think on my feet to adapt to think about what I was doing and adapt to the game as I was playing it. And keeping in mind, yeah, I've got a lot of different units that do different things. So
Hmm.
it's like lean into those differences and seize those initiatives when you can. So,
Hmm. Yeah, that's
no, it
great.
was good. It was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun. And I got the Limestone Rumble coming up in 2 weeks. It'll be the farewell to, it's an RTT here in Kingston. It's sold out, unfortunately. It's just a small, I think it's a 16 player tournament.
Okay.
We're
Eight
running
tables.
down here in Kingston, and it'll be the farewell to the 24-25 General's Handbook.
That's
So
so cool. Yeah, that's great. I'm glad that it can end on a high like
it
that.
ended on a high note. It ended on a
That's
high note.
your
So
first experience at a GT, and you did so much better than me, you son of a bitch. Um,
well, I
that's
did
good.
show up the 2 days, so that
I
helps.
did that too on my
Oh
first
yeah.
GT. I only won one game though.
Oh well, better than none.
Better
Because
than
my
none.
friend, our friend, Thomas, our Skaven player that I played, came dead last. But he won best sportsmanship, which I
Good
was
for
glad
him.
to see
Good.
because
Yeah.
he was a great guy to play against, and to go out to your first tournament and give it your all. Like his
It's
last
about
match, he only lost by like 2 points too. It was neck and neck, but
it's playing the game. So long as you're
playing the
playing,
game, yeah,
that's the
out
way to
there
do it.
playing, right?
Yeah.
So. Yeah, so that's it for me. I'll be signing off and bidding farewell to the Constellation League. No, I'm just kidding. Who else am I going to talk about Warhammer with?
I need to talk to you, loser.
Yeah. Oh
Oh,
man. All right, until next
well,
time.
yeah, until next time, I will be in the consolation league. I don't know about this guy.
I'll just be a guest.
Yes, it'll always be Scott and the consolation league with Scott featuring Paul.
Featuring Paul. Yeah. What was that? Herman something's Overdrive featuring someone Menderchuck or something like
Yeah.
that for Kids in the Hall. Yeah.
All right.
All right.
Thanks,
See
everybody.
you
We'll
later.
talk to you next time.
Bye.